Hi friends, welcome back to Playing Tribute to Ace Attorney Investigations, where we are on the last case of the game, Turnabout Ablaze. I realize I haven't been saying the title of the case the last couple times. I don't even know whether I said it at the beginning of the case. But yeah, that's the title of the case, Turnabout Ablaze. Where we are in the middle of some crazy political stuff happening, but also some smuggling things have been brought to light, and right now we are kind of in a suspicious circumstance with Shih-na, because she was in the room next door, and the killer may or may not have gone through the fireplace to the room next door, and it's all a whole thing. So we're going to figure out whether Shih-na is someone who is someone to accuse, and if we're like going into the end game here, or if there's some other kind of thing going on. So let's jump in and see what we can see. Agent Lang. Lang Z says, "Little cubs, never do they know the real fury of the elder wolves." These quotes are definitely becoming increasingly difficult to decipher. And what's that mean? It means that you'll never really know how angry I can get. Mr. Prosecutor, the counterfeit bills made with Babalese ink. They were all of Zhengfa denominations. Yes, so I heard from Miss Von Karma. But we don't know where the play money has gone. We must not have figured out that it was all burned yet. Ever since those things showed up in circulation, my country's economy has taken a big hit. Zhengfa is in financial chaos as we speak, because we can't tell the difference between our own bills and the fakes. But it's not just the money. The citizens are also worried. I've staked the honor of the House of Lang on this, and have come to this land to capture the mastermind behind this whole mess. I investigated how the bills were made and how the ink was smuggled into Zhengfa, and I pursued the smuggling ring all the way here. But tonight, this is where the final chapter is written. Despite my frantic efforts to chase the smuggler down, someone got to him first. And now I'm called to return home without a single answer. Agent Lang, Don't start. It's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault, Mr. Prosecutor. Ambassador Alba, I'm sorry for the trouble tonight. Oh, no. It is I who should apologize. It was all because I was not strong enough. If only I was able to think of a better solution. Quercus, you fool! Curse your empty brain! You're being too hard on yourself, Ambassador. I take full responsibility for tonight, and the story. Shih-na, let's go. Time to return to our town. Yes. I don't like to admit it, but there's not much else for us to do but go home as well. Agent Lang! You! Wolfman and the secretary lady! Hold it! Objection! Pal! Detective Gumshoe, have you got the results of the handwriting analysis already? Yep, and that note was definitely written by Mr. Cochin, sir. Just as I thought. Good work, Detective. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. How long do you intend to hold us up for? Sorry to have made you wait, but I believe that now everyone is finally here. Agent Shih-na, I'd like to ask you something, if you don't mind. Yes. She's back to being a few words. How exactly did you fail to see the Yatagarasu? When you were in the neighboring room to where Mr. Cochin was killed? I'd like you to explain that to us. What? Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. What are you doing asking her about something she didn't see? Agent Lang hasn't touched the Baval investigation at all, so I suppose I will need to explain a few things to him first. Miles Edgeworth, I can't even begin to imagine what's going on in that head of yours. The only thing going on in my head is the pursuit of the truth. Oh, it sounds like you have some sort of plan. Very well, I'll supervise you until the end. Is she seriously going to treat me like a subordinate for the rest of the day? You're not trying to pick a fight with my subordinate on some flimsy guess, are you? I'm not trying to pick a fight, and the evidence is hardly flimsy, as you will see. Ha! I should have known that you and I are destined to fight it out to the very end. It would appear that way. Well, I'll prove her innocent, so let's see what you've got, Prosecutor Edgeworth. With pleasure. Oh, the tables have turned! For my opening argument, I'll discuss the Yatagarasu that appeared in Babal, and establish exactly who it was that Kay saw. Agent Lang, I assume you've been briefed on Kay's testimony? You mean the suspicious person in a coat that she saw? That's right. That person is one of the keys to solving this case. The person who pretended to be the Yatagarasu. Pretended? What do you mean by that? I'll get to that in a second, but first I want to review what the person Kay saw did. Kay, if you could please explain what the person you were chasing did for us. Okay, you got it. I first spotted the suspicious person near the open-air stage on the Bavalese side. I called out to the person, but as soon as I did, the person ran off. I thought it was rather suspicious, so I immediately gave chase. For the sake of argument, let's call the suspicious person the Yatagarasu. Now please tell us what happened when you chased the Yatagarasu up to the 3rd floor. Can do! I chased the Yatagarasu all the way up to the 3rd floor of the Babalese embassy. It was a pretty straight chase down the hallway, until the sudden turn. The Yatagarasu disappeared around the corner, so I did my best to catch up. When I turned the corner, I saw the Yatagarasu run into Mr. Cochin's office. I gave chase and ran into the room, but when I entered the room, it was pitch black. I couldn't see a thing. I felt something on the ground next to my foot, so I turned on the light, but then... Who's there? By the time I had turned on the lights, the Yatagarasu had disappeared. When Kay entered the room, the person she was chasing was already gone. Why do you suppose that was, Agent Lang? What do you mean, why do you suppose? Isn't it obvious? The person slipped out through the door behind the girl under the cover of darkness. Objection! Sorry, but I know for a fact that the person didn't escape through that door. Oh, how do you know that with such certainty? That's easy. If the Yatagarasu had left through that door, they would have run right into this person. We're talking about Shih-na because she was the next person to enter? Because they're assuming that they went behind Kay. So yeah. Take that! Your answer, Shih-na! Yes, because let's consider what would have happened if Yatagarasu had used the door. When Kay screamed upon discovering Mr. Cochin's body, the Yatagarasu would have run right into Agent Shih-na, who was in the next room over. Agent Shih-na, would you mind telling us if you saw the suspicious person in question? No, I didn't see anyone. You see. Therefore, the Yatagarasu could not have escaped. It just means that the creep slipped it out before Shih-na made it out into the hallway. I doubt that, as there was another person in that hallway. A certain detective. Detective Gumshoe? Where were you exactly at the time? Me, sir? Well, when I heard Kay scream, I ran towards Mr. Cochin's office room, the opposite direction of Agent Shih-na, sir. So, Agent Lang, can you explain how someone could have eluded both of them? Even you must concede that under these circumstances, the door was not a viable route. Way to go, Mr. Edgeworth! You nailed him with just an explanation of what happened. Yes. I've eliminated one of the possible escape routes from that room. Yeah. I've eliminated one of the possible escape routes from that room. But this is far from over. I need to make Agent Lang aware as well. Of yet another possible escape route that the Yatagarasu could have taken, and also still should have run into Shih-na. Right? Like, this is not... And now he's laughing at me. I get it, so that's what you're trying to show me. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, let me guess. This is what you're trying to say, right? Because the door was not a viable escape route, then there must have been another way out. Precisely. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, it's time to bust out with our revolving fireplace wall explanation, right? No, not quite yet. Huh? But why? I thought this would be the perfect time. Revolving wall on the Pavili's side is known only to 4 people. But if we use this information unwisely, the truth may escape us in the end. What's with all the whispering over there? Scared I'll figure out your tactics? Nothing of the sort, Shih-na. Come, let's continue where we left off. That smug, haughty attitude of yours. You really rubbed me the wrong way, you know that? Well, no matter. I figured you out already anyway. The only other possible escape route, besides the door, is the room's low window. And since the eerie picture of said escape route exists... Are you saying that this photo captures the moment of the Yatagarasu's escape? I guess Detective Bad must have filled him in on this photo. I have to admit that at first I thought the window would be a possible escape route as well. However, I now know that it would be impossible. Now, I realize you may not know this, but... humans can't fly. Of course I know that. That's bloody common sense. Besides, I never said I thought that photo to be the Yatagarasu's escape route. I suppose not. Alright, then explain yourself. The shadow in this photo is not the Yatagarasu that Kay was chasing after. Wait, are they gonna make me solve what it is? You can say whatever you'd like in whatever language you want, but there's only one language I really understand, the language of evidence. Very well then. I present to you proof that the person Kay saw is not the same as the one in this photo. What? Oh, wait. Wasn't this taken, Yeah, it was because of when it was taken. After the first fire on the 4th and 5th floors had taken place. So this was between fires. Oh, shoot. So what does it want me to show? This or the picture? I'm gonna say... which one does it want me to do? Okay, I'm gonna say that it wants this one because the photo itself is giving me the explanation for how... It's talking about the photo, so I can't show the photo as the proof, right? I need to show something else as the proof, so I want to show this. Let me explain to you precisely why the shadow in this photo is not the Yatagarasu Kay saw. Kay spotted the Yatagarasu heading for the 3rd floor during the 2nd fire. However, the photo in question was taken right just after the 1st fire. Yeah, way to go! That's twice you've hit him in the butt now. Oh, bit him in the butt now. Right, because he's a wolf. We're not done yet. You still have to explain what that shadow is, and how the Yatagarasu escaped. I don't suppose you can answer both, can you? Regarding the photo, I admit that we don't understand what it means quite yet. Yes, please, thank you. I don't have anything for that. Ha, as I thought. However, the Yatagarasu's escape route, now that I can answer. You can? Well then, Mr. Prosecutor, go on and enlighten me. Even if I explain it, you'll try to find some flaw with what I have to say. You were busy heading up the Alabastian investigation, correct? In that case, I doubt you'd have much knowledge about the Babalese side of the case. So wouldn't it be best if the lead on that side, Agent Shih-na, explained in my stead? Shih-na is my subordinate. If I don't stick up for her, how can I look her in the eyes and call myself her boss? Fine, it's alright. I can take care of him. Shih-na, you've shielded me a lot as my boss. but it's time for me to prove my worth. That creepy smile. Alright, if you're okay with it, then you have my support. Finally, it's down to just Agent Shih-na and myself. This is where the battle really begins. Now then, what is it you'd like to ask? Let's see. Why don't we start with your movements inside the Babalese embassy? Alright. During the first Babalese fire, I assisted in putting out the fire. During the second fire, I was searching for the Edgeworth that had appeared in Babal. While I was searching, I heard a scream coming from the next room over. Although I was in the next room, I was unable to catch the glimpse of the Yatagarasu. To be honest, I'm actually very skeptical that the girl's Yatagarasu even exists. And that is all I have to say. But I'm not lying when I say I saw the suspicious person run into Mr. Kochin's office. Like I said earlier, I have no intention of retracting my testimony. Good. Just to confirm, did you have a partner when you were on your investigation? No, I moved alone. In that case, you have no one to cooperate or ally. Is that correct? Are you calling her suspicious because she was in a room by herself? How pathetic. And it wasn't when Agent Shih-na tried to arrest Kay under the same rationale? And how about when you accused Larry because he was the weapon's owner? Put him in his place. Not that it's unexpected for that useless lump to get into such a situation. Although I suppose it's never a good idea to let mistakes go uncorrected. I will make no excuse for what I did in that situation. Then you should apologize right now for making Kay out to be the killer, pal. I'm sorry. Shih-na, apologize. I'm sorry. Oh. It's really okay. I mean, I'm not under suspicion anymore. Right, Mr. Edgeworth? Well, I never doubted you, not for 1 second. How nice of them to apologize. Same goes for me. I believe in Shih-na. Then let's put that to the test, and see if she really is worthy of your trust. This promises to be interesting. She really does have a really creepy smile, though. Alright, assisted in putting out the fire. I'm just gonna press everything, you know, usual. So you helped with the fire extinguishing efforts. I was in charge of the police on the Babalese side, so I helped them at their work. Police doing the job of firemen. You really know how to work people. She sure does. That's because she's one awesome woman who knows how to manage. I guess so. She's always bringing you a business card or a scroll at just the right time. To prepare everything before I'm ordered to. That is the definition of a secretary. She kind of seems more capable than Agent Lang, doesn't she? At the very least, she's certainly more capable than you, Detective. I kind of had a feeling you were going to say that. She knows more than just a capable secretary, you know. Shih-na, tell him what other things you're good at. Alright. Man, I don't like that smile. By the second fire, you mean the one that consumed the third floor of Babal, correct? Yes, that was when the suspicious person was spotted in Babal. Then you were after the same person in the long coat that I was after. There's no proof that the suspicious person was really the Yatagarasu, because no one was able to get a good look at the person's face. By the way, how was your team's investigation? In order to extinguish the fire, water was pumped into the third floor via the windows. So the majority of the investigators conducted their searches on the other floors. Maybe they did, but there was one person who was wandering around lost on the third floor. When the fire was pretty much out, I moved to investigate the third floor. And you did that alone? Yes. Right, there's no question about that. That was Kay. So you were in the room next to Mr. Kochin's office. I already told you I was earlier, and I was examining the neighboring room. I heard that girl's shrill scream. Upon hearing her, I immediately ran toward Mr. Kochin's office. Wherein you proceeded to arrest her, as I recall. Yes, I did. But she was totally innocent, pal. I thought we had already cleared that up. And I thought I had already apologized for my behavior. Now, for tenacious detective who be so kind as to be quiet. I have to agree. Right now, it is not the time to take issue with that. Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth. But what I do take issue with is the fact that you didn't see the Yatagarasu, Agent Shih-na. The prosecutors of this country are also strange. Yes, that's the problem we have. You're unable to catch even a glimpse, despite being in the next room. Is that true? I really hate to repeat myself. I'm sorry for inconveniencing you. However, I simply wish to make sure that you are not misremembering something. We wouldn't want you to be accused of lying later on, would we? Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Are you calling Shih-na's testimony a lie? Agent Lang, I'm talking with Agent Shih-na right now. So I'd appreciate if you wouldn't interrupt us with superfluous comments. Superfluous? How do you pronounce that word? I am sorry. Aw, you know, I feel kind of bad for him. I understand his pain at watching one of his subordinates being accused. However, I cannot turn my eyes from the truth. Lang, I'm alright. And as for you, I think you should be focusing your doubts on the girl rather than me. And why is that? To be honest, I'm actually very skeptical that the girl's Yatagarasu even exists.
Hold it!
Are you throwing Kay's words into doubt again? Well, she does claim to be the Yatagarasu, right? And she did try to chase down the Yatagarasu, despite being just an average citizen. Actually, she came here with the goal of capturing the fake Yatagarasu. That's right, which is why I would never lie about anything related to the Yatagarasu. And I suppose you have proof of that somewhere? Not quite, but even without any, I have people who believe me, and that's enough. I see. Kay's testimony is without flaw, but as for yours, well, let's just say that I find your testimony to be a bit suspicious. There seems to be a very large flaw in her testimony. Then why don't you show us using what we found with the little thief? I will in due time. Escape route of the Yatagarasu that Kay was in pursuit of. It turns out that it really does lead right to Agent Shih-na. What is it that she's keeping from us right now? Okay. So... she should have seen somebody. Because it has been used. Is that it? Like, is that... am I supposed to present it now?
Objection!
Okay. Being in the room next to Mr. Kochin's office is the problem with your testimony.
Knuckle back!
Mr. Prosecutor, I don't see what problem you're talking about at all. Agent Lang, do you recall the secret we discovered about the Alabastian office fireplace? Huh? You mean how it connects the office with the room next door? What about it? Well, Alabast isn't the only country with secret connecting fireplaces. What? The fireplace in Mr. Kochin's office holds the exact same secret. What? The Yatagarasu didn't escape through the door to the room, or the window. The escape route was through the revolving fireplace wall and into the next room over. Now do you see? If the Yatagarasu had escaped into the next room, then the thief would have run straight into Agent Shih-na. Meaning that it's impossible for her to have missed the Yatagarasu. What is the meaning of this, Miles? Well, would you care to explain, Agent Shih-na? How you managed to completely miss the fleeing Yatagarasu, or should I? Shall I? Ooh. You claim that you were in the next room? Your claim that you were in the next room was a lie all along, wasn't it? The truth is, you were the one that Kay saw in the coat. Pretending to be the Yatagarasu, and you were the one she chased after. As you tried to lose her, you ran into Mr. Kochin's office and headed for the fireplace. Then you shed your coat in the next room, leaving it there to emerge as Agent Shih-na. After that, you came back around to the place Kay back around to place Kay under arrest. So in this hypothetical scenario, did she kill Cochin? Because that was really fast. That was a fast movement. Does that sound about right? If not, then speak now or forever hold your peace. She's not happy. How dare you make Kay look like the bad guy when you're the suspicious one, pal? Shih-na? The heartbeat sound happening is really cool. Honestly, I'm surprised she held it in this long. That laugh. Yeah. I remember this irritating laugh. I'm getting chills down my spine. It can't be, but it has to be. Shih-na, what's wrong with you? I'm sorry. It was so funny that I couldn't help but laugh. Funny, you say? Yes, that you would accuse me of being the Edgeworth. The prosecutors of this country really are also very strange. Do you think you can get away with this by simply laughing it off? You think I'm taking things too lightly? I think not. It's that prosecutor who is. Look, everything you said earlier is nothing more than mere speculation. The Edgeworth who fled through the fireplace, do you have any proof to back up your claim? If you don't, then you haven't proven a thing regarding the Edgeworth's escape route. The tone of voice you're taking with me now has certainly changed. That's because it's been a while since I've had this much fun. I think I'll let loose, and then we can have a real battle of wits. For an agent of Interpol to show me the true power of her mind, it is a great honor. Don't underestimate me, I'm not some foolish broad, you know. I know. And that's why I won't hold anything back either as I answer your question. My question. Here's your proof that the revolving fireplace wall in the ball was used recently. It's the fireplace itself, right? There are signs that it has been used. Because of the ashes.
Take that!
I'm sorry, but is this really your honest answer to my question? Yes. According to Ambassador Poleno's testimony, he said that he was burning some documents in the fireplace with Mr. Cochin. Oh. The ashes of what they burned were left in the fireplace, so they should have been there. However, when we went to investigate the room, the ashes weren't there. Why is that a problem? Maybe someone cleaned them up.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Ambassador Poleno said that he forgot to. And so the question remains, why were the ashes missing? The answer is simple. When the Edgeworth went through the fireplace wall, the ashes were pushed into the next room by the wall as well. The movement of the ashes that were in Mr. Cochin's office is my proof. And she's laughing again. And just what is so funny? Ashes proof? Are you even allowed to submit such flaky evidence in court? You still wish to fight us? Of course, why wouldn't I? In that case, let's hear your counter-argument. My counter-argument, huh? This really is just like being in court. Well, to me, we're simply continuing from where we left off all those years ago. I have no idea what you're talking about. Sure you don't. It doesn't matter if we're at a crime scene or in court, let's finish this here and now. I suppose. Had a lot of fun today, but I grow weary of this game of cat and mouse. Let's make this the last testimony and wrap up this absurd case once and for all. In my eyes, all you've proved is that the rotating fireplace wall was used. But you can't really call that proof that the Yatagarasu used the fireplace, now can you? So then who was it that used the rotating wall? Show me your answer with real evidence. Remember, we've already finished our very thorough investigation. And we found not a single suspicious thing in Mr. Cochin's office. So what about the room next door? If she shed her coat, would it have ashes on it? And there you have it, my counter-argument. That's very impressive. She has seen through the fact that I have yet to gather that one piece of evidence. What is it, Kay? I haven't heard a peep out of you in quite a while now. If you don't think you can handle it, feel free to leave it to the rest of us. Or leave the rest to us. But Kay, pull yourself together. You are the true heir to the Yatagarasu name, are you not? If you want to steal the truth, then you must never take your eyes off of it. This chase you're running to catch the truth, you must see it through to the very end. Mr. Edgeworth, you're right. I will see this through to the end. So, you go get her for me, Mr. Edgeworth. With pleasure. Looks like a lack of evidence has left you wide open, doesn't it? Shih-na, please, show me you're someone I can trust. Don't worry, this will be the deciding match, you'll see. I'm truly sorry, Agent Lime, but I simply can't allow her to escape me again. Very well then, Agent Shih-na. Shall we begin? I'm ready whenever you are. Okay. Press everything. This is like the final countdown here. It sounds to me like you're saying my explanation is not good enough. But I was able to go through the revolving door myself. So that should be proof enough, even for you, pal. Looks like you don't quite understand. But by your looks, I can guess that you're not all that learned. Talk about rude. You should watch what you say, pal. Sadly, I can't say I disagree with her on that one. But you know what I mean, right? You may have proven that the fireplace was used.
Hold it!
The music is really cool. I don't think I've noticed the tune the last few times. It's very detailed. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So you want proof that the Yatagarasu was the one who used the fireplace? That's right. Well, do you have any? Can you prove that it wasn't the Yatagarasu who used the fireplace? I don't need to prove anything to you. Objection!
Hold it!
Okay, if you could please not steal my line. Sorry, but I just couldn't hold it in anymore. Well, don't fret and leave her to me. All you have to do is sit back and watch. Oh, don't fret and leave her to me. You may seem to have some wiggle room, but without any evidence, it's meaningless. It's gotta be the jacket. It's possible that the Yatagarasu left fingerprints inside the... Wait a second! No, because this was after the fire, so it can't be the jacket. Never mind. It was in between the fires. I was excited for a second there. It's possible that the Yatagarasu left fingerprints inside the fireplace. Sorry, but I had the forensics team check that out already. Well, they found prints belonging to Ambassador Paleno and Mr. Cochin. Curses. Should have known better than to think the Yatagarasu would have been so careless. There must be some sort of evidence that we still have yet to find. I take it you have no further objections.
Hold it!
So Interpol has finished examining the entire Babalese embassy. Yes, the investigators who weren't allowed in Alabast were incredibly helpful. They all put in great efforts to search for any sign of the Yatagarasu.
Objection!
And yet, despite all that effort, it appears that they failed to notice the lack of ash in the office fireplace. Furthermore, you were the one who inspected the room next to Mr. Cochin's, correct? Oh, the jacket's not going to be there. I didn't notice the ash there in the fireplace of that room, and for that I am sorry. You don't need to apologize, Shih-na. As your boss, your mistakes are my mistakes. So allow me to apologize for you. I'm sorry. You know, maybe this guy's not such a bad guy after all. He apologized for his subordinate and everything. What a great boss. Are you saying that I don't do anything for my own subordinates? No, nothing of the sort, sir. You're someone I really respect, sir. Even if you're a bit too strict sometimes. But it's only a problem on your end. Wow, way to be super hard on him in response. Why am I just strict on everyone? Anyway, Shih-na, you didn't find anything in Mr. Coach's office, right? That's right. We finished our investigation. Alright, creepy smile.
Hold it!
So you really didn't find anything? Yes, as I said, not one suspicious thing. Although, as you already know, we did find the Edgeworth's key in the document detailing the smuggling operation, but we still haven't found the blade that belongs to the Babalese knife that handle yet. Ha! You see? My subordinates worked hard to investigate everything. So there's nothing else to find, alright? Wow, Agent Lang really sticks up for his people. Langzy says, all men are brothers. Friends become family. So you see, my people are my family, and their families are my family too. That's a rather large family you have there. Yes, but as we all know, there is always one black sheep in any family. And though it pains me, Agent Lang, you will know the black sheep in your family. So, do you actually have any proof that the Edgeworths used the fireplace passageway? No, I haven't found any yet. Then what are we going to do? There's no need to worry, because there's a loophole in this Interpol agent's argument we can exploit first. The one in charge of the Babalese investigation was not Agent Lang, which means that with Agent Shih-na in charge, it's possible she may have tampered with evidence. That piece of evidence that we found, if there's one thing I do know, is that someone tried to hide it from us. So what did we find? It was the handle, right? No, I mean the blade, but yeah. We saw this. That was weird. Surely that's not the thing, though. Is it? Maybe it is. Because it was weird, it's suspicious. It's the only thing we didn't jump on. Oh my gosh, it is. Yes! Let's do it! Well, you say that you and your agent had finished your thorough investigation. Are you absolutely certain that you didn't overlook anything? Well, aren't we full of ourselves standing there insulting Interpol agents? You'd better not be insinuating that my men are incompetent, Mr. Prosecutor. I'd never do that. However, it doesn't change the fact that they did overlook something. I'd like for you to take a look at this length of wire. And what exactly is this supposed to mean? A length of wire. So what about it? I'll tell you what. We found this in the Babalese embassy not long ago. What? And we found it wound up inside the grandfather clock in Mr. Cochin's office. You found that at the scene of Mr. Cochin's murder? But this wire wasn't all we found. We found one other very important thing. There's more. In Mr. Cochin's office, there were signs that someone had burned counterfeit bills there. What in the... Right. I was wondering why we didn't say anything about that yet. That evidence was something you found out through that girl's machine, right? So what if it was? That's what I thought. But unfortunately for you, a recreation made by a machine is hardly concrete proof. Among the ashes you found in the room, did you happen to find any counterfeit bills? No. You see? So there was nothing in that office. Nothing you can call evidence, anyway.
Objection!
There were green flames. I'm sorry, but I seem to have given you the wrong impression. How so? I don't recall saying that I was presenting evidence of any sort, but rather that I was pointing out that your investigation was incomplete, and that this throws doubt on the purity of your investigation into the Yatagarasu. You still suspect me, I see. All right, then. I ask that you point out what part of my investigation is incomplete. The other Interpol agents worked under command of Agent Shih-na, and it is not possible that the reason the person Case was chasing chose the third floor was because that person knew there would be no other agents on that floor. Furthermore, we've come to see that Agent Shih-na was only pretending to be investigating the Yatagarasu to the point of arresting Kay. In that case, there is one location no one has yet to inspect. What? Oh yeah, the room next door. I've been saying this. Your team's investigation was incomplete because they failed to inspect this location. The room next door. I've been saying this. The location, Agent Shih-na, is of course the room you claimed to have examined. I believe the room next to Mr. Coach's office warrants a thorough inspection. Even if you do that, I doubt you'll find anything of use to you there. I will be the one to decide that. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir. I'm on it. I'll be right back after I check out that room next to the office. Run, run! We're just gonna wait here. We'll just hang out. It's fine. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth. Do you really think that Miss Shih-na's the Yatagarasu? Yes, if my logic is sound, I believe she is. Then I'm not going to let her get away with ruining the name of the Yatagarasu. Can you prove she is the Yatagarasu, is the question. If Detective Gumshoe can find what I'm hoping he will find, then I should be able to. I don't think he's going to find it. She probably hid things. Right? And just what are you hoping he'll find? Let's just say this. I had Detective Gumshoe do a little experiment for me earlier. An experiment? As if that detective has the brains for high science. It wasn't that mentally taxing. I had him use the same escape route as the Yatagarasu. And what did you find out by doing that? First, that it's possible for a person to fit through the revolving wall door. Second, that by going through there, his coat was covered in ash and Babali's ink. Who cares what his coat was covered in? It's not worth that much anyway. But is it really worth so little? I believe that it's actually quite a meaningful result, the value of which I'm about to prove. It's the ink. We're gonna burn it. We're gonna burn her coat. Mr. Edgeworth, I found some things you really need to see, sir. I'm surprised you didn't get rid of the coat. So what are these things that you found? Some makeup, a coat, and a pair of shoes, sir. You found a coat? You hear that, Mr. Edgeworth? Maybe it's the one that the person I was chasing was wearing. Yes, the possibility does exist. Agent Shih-na, were these pieces of evidence not in the room when you examined it? Unfortunately for you, those aren't suspicious items of any sort. They all belong to me. They're getting in the way, so I stored them in that room. Aw. Thank you for bringing them to me. It saved me a trip. May I have them back now?
Hold it!
These items that the detective brought back are incredibly significant. I request that we be allowed to examine them. They're my personal belongings, so you have no right to touch them without my permission.
Objection!
I wish to examine them for the sake of the investigation. But if you wish to deny us access to them, Agent Lang, let's hear your opinion on this. I say let them look at your stuff, Shih-na. Lang! Shih-na, let's put it all out in the open. If you're really innocent, then you have nothing to worry about, right? I guess so. Alright, go ahead and examine whatever you'd like. After all, I have nothing to hide. Good. Now let us begin. Which of Agent Shih-na's belongings are you going to examine? The coat. Yes, sir. appears you managed to stain your coat rather badly. Agent Shih-na. The Edgeworth said that Kay Saw was wearing a coat. And I'm beginning to wonder if the stain wasn't created when you went through that fireplace. No, you have it wrong. That soot probably got on my coat when I was helping the police put out the fire. And what about this dark substance around the hem of your coat? Oh, I didn't realize that hem was that dirty. I'm sure it's just some water-based soot from when I was helping with the fire. Burn it! I don't think so. You think you can get away with such a transparent lie? Yeah, don't lie to us, pal. This is the same pattern of dirt that got on my coat when I went through the fireplace. Your words ring hollow in the absence of evidence, you know. So unless you can prove that the dirt on my coat is from the fireplace, which I can. How? You did a great job, Detective Gumshoe. Me, sir? What did I do? This coat. This is exactly the piece of evidence I was searching for. I had been hoping to find the coat that the person Kay Saw was wearing. And thanks to you, we proved that going through the fireplace would sully a coat. I don't quite get what you're saying, but I'm happy for the praise, sir. All that remains is for us to show what the dark substance on the coat hem is. And you think you can do that? Of course I can. Burn it!
Take that!
Babyliss ink. Yes, this is what will prove that the coat went through that fireplace. According to Ambassador Poleno, he burned some files in the fireplace this morning. You told us about that already, so I don't really see the point of mentioning it again. My point is that he spilled some ink on the back wall of the fireplace at that time. If the dark substance on this coat turns out to be Babyliss ink, it would prove that you and this coat went through the revolving fireplace wall. Sorry to have clipped one of your wings yet, Garasu, but we're not finished yet. But you have no way of proving whether or not this is Babyliss ink on the coat hem. Oh, but I do, and I intend to show that it is ink in a few seconds. How? How, you ask? Well, since you don't seem to know, allow me to show you. This is how I will prove the dark substance in the coat is Babyliss ink. Burn it! You can find out whether that is Babyliss ink or not by lighting it on fire. That's how you're going to prove that it's Babyliss ink? Yes. If you could please cut a section of the dark stained area for me, I'd appreciate it. Because I will show you here now that the dark substance is. What the dark substance is. Shih-na, sorry to do this, but I'm going to have to cut off a bit of your coat. Go ahead, I wasn't planning to wear it anymore anyway. Now then, if someone could loan me a lighter or something. Oh, I've got some matches. I always carry them with me so I can light smoke bombs. And then if I could please have it okay, we could get this experiment underway. The flame! It's the same color as the flames white crystal oil produces, which means Babyliss ink is a product of white crystal oil. And when lit, the ink produces a green flame. I believe that the time has come to clip the Yatagarazu's other wing. Miss Shih-na, you're the fake Yatagarazu. The one who killed my father. It's about time you came clean, Agent Shih-na. Or should I say, Callisto you. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, you're not serious, are you? Do I look like the joking type to you? Callisto you. I've never heard that name before in my life. That manner of speaking and that attitude, you haven't changed a bit in 7 years. You're the defense attorney that killed Mr. Faraday and then tried to frame me for it. Oh, really? And you have proof? You insist that I'm this Callisto you woman, but you can't prove it. If you have no proof, then I'm afraid you won't be able to lay a single finger on me.
Objection!
The raven is a very unique bird, one that flies by the darkness of night. However, the light of dawn has arrived and it will reveal your true ugly form to the world. Enough poetry, I want to see some evidence. Do you really have something that can prove that she is Callisto you? I do. It's something that the second Yatagarazu has preserved for us these last 7 years. Do me the honor, Mr. Edgeworth. I will, Kay. For we have finally come to the end. We'll prove her to be Callisto you with this. Clip this Yatagarazu's wings for good.
Take that!
This perfume. This will prove you to be Callisto you. It will. Kay has preserved it perfectly for us. Surely you remember this bottle. This belonged to Miss Yu just before she disappeared 7 years ago. Naturally, this means that a few of her fingerprints are on here as well. This is that bottle of perfume you spilled, which I have preserved ever since. I heard from my father, Vern Faraday, that if it's stored under the right conditions, a fingerprint can be preserved for decades. Which means that your fingerprints are still on here, every last one. We can clear everything up if we were to compare the prints on this to your own. Now come, Agent Shih-na, will you submit yourself to a fingerprint test? Oh my. I thought she was creepy before, yikes. She looks like a crazy clown. It looks like you've seen right through me yet again. You're sending the biggest chill down my spine, Edgeworth. Callisto, you. So you've shown your true face at last. This feeling of thrill is even greater than that time 7 years ago. Shih-na, you're... Lang, I really enjoyed our days together. You're an insanely strong, nice, kind-hearted idiot of a man. So you were a spy all along. A mole sent by the smuggling ring I've been chasing after. Someone who has been feeding them intel on Interpol all this time. Very good. Maybe you're not as big of an idiot as I thought. Callisto Yu, the woman who killed my father 7 years ago. You're her, aren't you? Fake Yatagarasu. That's right, Callisto Yu. That's just one of my many names. But even that is just a facade. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the great thief Yatagarasu. Callisto Yu, this time you won't escape, for this is the end of the road for you. Now come along quietly. You know, you're the one who left the strongest impression on me, Kay Faraday. And had you not used the Yatagarasu's gadgets, I might have never known who you were. But here you are, being a thorn in my side, just like your father always was. Kay, don't. You, I'll never forgive you for what you did to my father. You really are just like him. Mr. Faraday, too, possessed such laughable honesty. Kay! You let Kay go right now, pal! You despicable! Let go of me, you filthy... You think I'm a fake, don't you? Well, unfortunately for you, I'm the real Yatagarasu. But that's impossible! My father was the one who created Little Thief. Hey, Edgeworth. The Yatagarasu has 3 legs. Do you know why that is? Why it has 3 legs. There are 3 main reasons why the Yatagarasu will always be one step ahead. First, the Yatagarasu always knows the exact location of a target object. Second, the Yatagarasu always knows exactly how to disarm the security system. No, it can't be. Did you finally figure it out? Do you finally know the real identity of the Yatagarasu? The real identity of the Yatagarasu is... This is an interesting choice. I know the answer because I've played this game before, so I knew that that Shih-na was Callisto the whole time. But I know what it's trying to. I think I'm gonna say neither. I think that's what it wants me to do, or maybe all of them are correct. I don't know. The real identity of the Yatagarasu is neither Brown Faraday nor Callisto Yu, but by the same token, they are also both the real Yatagarasu. How very perceptive of you. No way! The single person known as the Great Thief Yatagarasu never existed. Mr. Edgeworth. No, I refuse to believe this! The Yatagarasu is known to have 3 special skills. Skill number 1, the Yatagarasu always knows the exact location of a target object. And a lawyer would have the opportunity to learn the layout of client corporations. Skill number 2, the Yatagarasu always knows exactly how to disarm the security system. And a good prosecutor would be well versed in the ways of a criminal. And skill number 3, the Yatagarasu doesn't leave a single shred of evidence behind. Ever. Detective Bad. It was only natural for the Edgeworth to never leave evidence behind, because the lead detective on the case hid it all away. You're the third member of the Edgeworth. You. I've been looking for you for a long time. 7 long years. But I finally got you. Why, Mr. Bad, long time no see. What happened to us? We used to be such a great team. If you were such a great team, then why did you kill my father 7 years ago? Why, indeed. It was nothing personal, really. He was just another person I had to kill. How can you say that? I grew weary of this, and it's about time for everything to come to an end. And this time, I won't miss. Stop! You! Kay! It's over, Shih-na. Your leg! Agent Lang! You idiot. What were you thinking jumping in front of my gun like that? What are you risking your life for? Sorry, Detective Bad, but no wonder what sort of past she may have had. Or even if she is a spy, it doesn't change the fact that she is my subordinate. And as long as she is, I can't allow any harm to come to her. Not even from you. You really are an idiot, you know that? Ha! That's fine with me. You should know by now that this is just how I am. Hey, sis. Yes? I want you to conduct a full body search. Shih-na might have another weapon on her. Alright. Detective Gumshoe, your assistance, please. Sir! Hey, I found something. What is this, sir? It looks like the blade of a knife, but it doesn't have a handle. This is a great find, Detective. It is, sir? Let's try pairing up this blade with the handle.
Take that!
I believe this blade actually belongs with the handle that was on the murder weapon. Hey, they fit together perfectly. This blade must have been taken from the crime scene when the knife handles were switched. You can go return this Babali's knife now. Alright, I trust that you make sure it was returned to Ambassador Paleno. I believe this makes it perfectly clear who did it. Callisto, you. For the only time the handles could have been switched is just after Mr. Cochin's murder. Which means that you must be Mr. Cochin's killer. You killed Mr. Cochin with the Alabastrian knife, switched the handles, and took the original blade of the Babali's knife with you. Later, you allowed yourself to be spotted by Kay near the open-air stage. You used the fireplace to lose her, and then you went back to accuse her of murder. Does that about sum it up?
Objection!
Oh, welcome back, Yu's voice. You craft an engaging tale, Edgeworth, but there are 2 problems with it. Problems? In what respect? Why do you think my real reason was in allowing her to chase after me? It was also I could capture Kay Faraday. What? When I saw you using that device at Gatewater Land, I knew right away that you were Byrne Faraday's daughter. I became curious, so I researched a little into your background. That's how I found out that you were on the trail of the Yatagarasu. So that's why you tried to pin Mr. Cochin's murder on me. Yes, I knew you would show up at this embassy tonight. So I thought to use you, but pinning the murder on you wasn't my only goal. You had another? Yes, once I had you under arrest, I had planned to search you and take back the device that rightfully belongs to me, the true Yatagarasu. You were going to take the little thief away from me? 7 years ago, it was thanks to that device that Faraday was able to infiltrate this place. But he stole more than he should have. I had a tough time recovering that precious key. Then, the person who stole the Yatagarasu's key was Mr. Faraday. You knew that incident 7 years ago. What was the catalyst behind it? In the eyes of the smuggling ring, the Yatagarasu was becoming a bit of a problem. It wasn't an especially pleasant assignment. Then why? Why did you become a member of the Yatagarasu? Why, there is no why. I was destined to betray everyone from the very beginning. From the beginning. What is that supposed to be? The person I take orders from hasn't changed, even now to this day. Does this mean that the leader of the smuggling ring wasn't Mr. Kunchin? And the real ringleader is still out there pulling the strings? You done asking what you need to know, because if so, we should probably get going. And you're gonna tell me everything you did tonight. Do you understand, Shih-na? I guess I should tell you then, that I was the one who set the Babalese embassy on fire. And why did you do that? I suppose it was to destroy all the evidence of the counterfeit bills. That was what the smuggling ring was trying to do. But then why start 2 fires? Sorry, but I can't tell you anything about the ring. It's your job to complete your investigation, after all. I've had my fun. Now it's your turn to enjoy the ride. Wait! I mean, Miss Shih-na. Yes. When I fell to the floor earlier, these fell at my feet. What about them? They're such pretty hair sticks that I thought, well, that I should return them to you. You can have them. They're no use to me anymore. If you don't want them, you can always just throw them away. No, I want to keep them. Suit yourself. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. Edgeworth? About the second problem I had with your story. I didn't kill anyone tonight. What? I'm not saying that as a sore loser. Think of it as a hint, if you will. Mr. Prosecutor? Yes, Agent Lang. Mark my words, I'm not done here, and I'll be back. And it's got nothing to do with duty or anything, because this has become my personal case. I may have been shot, but I'll show you just how dangerous a wounded wolf can be. His anger appears to have negated the sensation of pain in his injured leg. It's finally over, Kay. I feel like I've peered into her heart a little, you know? I'm so cold and dark, and incredibly lonely. The person who's giving her all those commands? The one who thought my father was a problem to be removed? That person is the real ringleader behind this smuggling ring. Mr. Edgeworth, I have a favor to ask. Can you hold on to these hair sticks for me? They're really pretty, just like the ones they were selling for the Jammin' Ninja show. But until this case is over, I don't think I can look at them without being overcome. I understand. I'll take good care of them for you. There's a bit of soil stuck to the ends of these sticks. I guess it's that time already, huh? So it's midnight, the dawn of another day. There's dirt. It's ruining the beauty of the hair stick. Why is there dirt? Reminds me of those flowers. Like the stakes for the flowers. Hey, Pops! Thanks a bunch. You really done a lot for everyone all these years. Detective Bad, don't tell me today's the day. Yeah, it is. With this, I can retire in peace. It was down to the wire, and we was gonna make it. But we did it. We solved everything. But that's just it. We haven't solved everything yet. The ringleader of the smuggling ring, the Yatagarasu, we're chasing after. The legend of that Yatagarasu is now over. Mr. Edgeworth, that bit of logic earlier was brilliant. I feel like I can leave it all in your hands. I'm counting on you. Is it really true, Uncle Bad? Were you also part of the Yatagarasu? As I said to you earlier, Kay, I'm truly sorry. I wanted nothing but a peaceful life for you. Uncle Bad? Hey, don't take it so seriously. It's all just one big joke, right? Unfortunately, it isn't. Oh, come on, sir. She's just yanking my chain. Isn't she, Mr. Edgeworth? Detective Bad. Wait. No, you're no longer a detective. Mr. Bad. I'd like to ask you about the Yatagarasu. Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth here. I should give these back to you. These are the pages from my KG8 case files that the Yatagarasu stole from my office. Wait, what? It was you! Mr. Edgeworth, I must apologize for last night. So the Yatagarasu who stole into my room was you, was it? Oh, wait, then that means— What?! Tell me it's not true. That's too insane for me to believe, sir. It's true. Even if it's not something you want to hear. The KG8 incident. It was a very emotionally trying case. We stood in that courtroom, Faraday as the prosecutor, and I as the lead detective. Faraday had evidence in his possession that would prove the defendant guilty. However, because it was stolen, the defendant was found innocent. You was the elder sister of the victim in the case. When the defendant was pronounced not guilty, she let out a great wail. That's when we realized that there was a limit to what the law could do. The only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside of the courts. So we thought at the time. That's how we formed the Yatagarasu. Vowed to bring to light any dirty dealings companies had with the ring, including companies that dealt with the Amano. Mr. Amano's conglomerate. We called ourselves the Yatagarasu, flexed our collective muscle. We exposed all sorts of shady dealings as a warning to the business world as a whole. By doing that, we were able to stop the higher-ups from covering things up. And then it was finally time. We had finally arrived at the moment when we'd find out the ringleader's true identity. It was then that you literally stabbed us in the heart. Faraday, he died for it. But why? Wasn't she the sister of the victim in the KG8 incident? After Faraday's death, I looked into our past. And that's when I found out that she was a phony. The victim of the KG8 incident, CCU. She never had a sister. What? Then that means Shih-na wasn't the only fake name she used. Callisto U was also another pseudonym. From the very beginning, that woman was a spy sent by the smuggling ring. She said it herself, I was destined to betray everyone from the very beginning. Anyway, let's return to the real topic at hand. Mr. Edgeworth, this trump card that was stuck onto this page of the case file. Please use it wisely. Trump card. The photo that we stuck in there. Try peeling it off. Behind it slumbers a piece of evidence. Faraday hid away all those years ago. It's the mark of the Yatagarasu, but why? This is a directives card from the big boss. Take a look at the back. This is something Kochin had on him the time of the KG8 incident, 10 years ago. That blood is from the victim of the incident, Miss CCU. But why is the card adorned with the mark of the Yatagarasu? The reason why we called ourselves the Yatagarasu was because of the three-legged raven mark that the smuggling ring's boss used. Oh, it's the smuggling ring's symbol. So the card that we saw— oh, interesting. Apparently orders from the boss would come on these cards without fail. Okay. The person who received the order was supposed to burn it immediately after reading it. And apparently it burns a bright green flame when set ablaze. Oh, man. So you mean the cards were written in Babylese ink? The fact that the card that Kochin was sent made it into Faraday's hand at all. It's nothing short of a miracle. We decided that whenever we stole anything, we would send a card along with it to the police. So that's what those white cards are. The great thief that used the mark that only those within the ring would know. Which was our message to the ringleader. That we were only a few steps behind. evidence, card containing orders from bosses by the to coach him. So what does it say? I wonder. Probably to kill her. Kill Cece. And one more thing, Detective Gumshoe. I'm entrusting this to you. Oh, what's this, sir? This is what I was talking about earlier. During the KG-8 incident trial, Verde had this in his possession. This important, definitive piece of evidence. But I thought it was stolen. How do you have it? The person who stole it from us 10 years ago was a man by the name of Ernest Amano. And he had it locked and hidden away for all this time. But we forced him to tell us where it was finally, after the other day's kidnapping case. Is it the video that we saw 7 years ago? KG-8 incidents. This was the case in which the unwitting CCU was murdered. And she was to expose the connection between the Amano group and the smuggling group. It's also when the group, the Edgeworth, was first formed. The events of this lawsuit. Yes, of course. Oh, it has blood on it. He's killed me because when this report's made. Oh. Interesting. Okay. This is the same video as the one Mr. Portsman was trying to conceal from me. Yeah, I've seen that even he was caught up in the ring's web. Amano was preparing to take the boss someday. Take on the boss someday. And the video was his insurance. That's where that prosecutor comes in. He was to retrieve the video. On top of that, he was apparently instructed to sneak into your office and steal the trump card. You saw it for yourself, right? The card that told him to preserve the evidence. Then that card was not the calling card of the Edgeworth, but rather a directives card from the ringleader to Mr. Portsman. Two pieces together make for a strong weapon for whoever holds them. The evidence Mr. Portsman thought to withhold from me, and the one that you stole from my office last night. Both pieces are illegal, and for me to use either one is, whether you use them or not, is up to you. But they will be of help to you when you take on someone who is above the law. Is the boss one of those who cannot be brought to court that Mr. Faraday spoke of? Detective Bad. There's no limit to the law, for it is the people who determine limits to them. You see, it still insists that, even now. You really are something else. I leave the rest in your hands. Now then, Detective Gumshoe the handcuffs. It's time to lock up the last remaining member of the Edgeworth. Pops, don't ever you lose your detective spirit. Why is this happening? This isn't justice. Like I always told you, not get emotionally involved. Now let's go. Yes, sir. We're all very downhearted here. This is not great. Is this really the end of a legend? Oh well, yeah, I guess so. Lucky for us, we know that we're just in the middle of things, and we have yet to see what comes up next at the end of the case. I'm assuming that the remaining parts will be the end. So we thought we solved more about the smuggling ring. We did not. There is a higher boss out there for the smuggling ring, who may or may not be above the law. A person who could not be brought to court or whatever he was quoting there. And then we've solved the Edgeworth mystery. So yeah, three-legged raven. 3 parts of the Edgeworth. I forgot that the smuggling ring used the same symbol. This is the piece of the case that I do not remember. Like, I might remember as it comes up, but this is about where my memory stops with this. Because I remember seeing the Edgeworth being the 3 of them. The defense attorney, the prosecutor, and the detective. And how the whole time Shih-na was that one piece of it. I forgot what her name was whenever I first saw Shih-na. I forgot that it was Callisto Yu. But then again, that's not actually her name, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, no, I don't remember anything else in this case. So I guess I've definitely only played this case once, and it was a long time ago, I guess. I think whenever I was looking at this earlier, it said that this game came out in 2009. So, but I think I played it before I played the sequel, because I wanted to play it as like, to remind myself of what's going on. Not that the sequel really jumps off of this, but we will see the sequel in due time, because I did find it. I think that I already told you guys that. So all that in due time. But before that, we're going to see what's left of this case to kind of figure out. I believe Shih-na that she did not kill Kochin. But then why would she lead Kay to the place that Kochin died? Unless it's just that was a happy accident. I don't know. We'll figure it out, and we'll figure out who killed and how everything was smuggled across the border and all that, because that was still a thing too. Though she had the knife, though. She had the blade, which was what we said, like, proved that she killed him. So I don't know. I am confused. We are gonna find out later. I'm just gonna wait it out. So yeah, I will talk to you guys next time.